Pecha Kucha 40, Summer Show Week 1. So it's that time of year again where London Met has their annual summer show where all of the different courses exhibit. There's a lot of workshops happening in the space, and because I'm writing about them for the Hot House blog, I am involved in all of them. So the first one was by Ignacio Ruiz, an illustrator and educator from, I think, Spain. The idea was to take letters from the alphabet and then reimagine them as like images where you kind of turn them into something else. So she took an A and turned it into an ice cream. I took an M, turned it into the top of a cowboy hat. It's that complicated and that simple. So these things went through a risographic printing process, which is a little bit like screen printing. The risograph printer prints in one color at a time, so you build your images up in layers. This is a J on its side that I turned into a duck. This is like the kind of, I guess, the proof version I did using tracing paper and just trying to like roughly draw things out. Putting it through the risograph print process was just too much. Like the line of the water cuts through the duck's head because I did it backwards. So I put the water line on a blank page, and because it was kind of a quick thing, there was no time to kind of make sure it was in the right place. Second workshop was student led, except no one told the students that. So we ended up just kind of doing a bit of life drawing in the local area. That's one of the benefits of being in East London. There's a lot of interesting places nearby. The cast is going to really suffer for that when it sells off its entire campus. So, you know, some pictures of people at the local church. On the left is a bit of architecture standing on, like, in the entrance of the church, and then a little bit of like the fencing, and then some guy having a kebab for lunch. I assume he was sober, but there you go. So we went back to the studio, and no one really knew what to do, so we just got some like Indian ink out and started, I don't know, illustrating the same things we'd already done but bigger. It wasn't really working for me. I don't, you know, it's just not the kind of way I work, and I wasn't feeling it anyway, so I just did a film noir detective kind of guy. Will Hudson gave a talk on Wednesday, co-creator of It's Nice That, a design website that promotes design work from professionals and students alike. Very down-to-earth guy. Very good talk. He's given it before earlier in the year, but it's, you know, it's worth listening several times. So I'm sitting there and thinking, oh yeah, this is very interesting. Tell me more. And he's talking about the design industry, and you know, he's a graphic designer talking about graphic designers, and I'm an illustrator, and as a freelancer, I'm always kind of on the outside, need to plugging in. So I'm like, this is great, but is this who I am? You know, Jackie Chan, who am I? That happened. And it's kind of been like that the entire course. I'm part of this conversation, and I'm not really sure it's any of my business. You know, I do want to do comics. I do like illustration, but do I want to be a freelance illustrator like Ignacio Ruiz? I don't know about that. So Will Hudson left us some free stuff. You know, the cover was the famous "Work Hard and Be Nice to People" poster by Alistair. I don't know, what's his name? Anthony Burrell. He's come into the course a couple of times. He's a nice guy. Letterpress, though, not really something I can see myself doing in the future. I say that, but I will be doing t-shirts designs that are a lot like his. Don't tell him that. Inside of the publication is a lot of, you know, kind of stories from design professionals about how they got started and the difficulties and the day-to-days of their jobs. Very interesting stuff. I really should read more of it. I should read all of it. A different workshop was to make little sketchbooks. So I decided, you know, I want to keep these things, so let's whack some characters I like on the front. Rough pencil drawings inked up with my brush pen. I do love my Pentel brush pen. And then put through the risograph printing process. It's difficult because it's almost the opposite way you layer things up when you do a comic in Photoshop. It's prone to misregistration, which is part of the charm. The things were ring bound. You know, they're cheap and cheerful, whatever, they were free. and I got them. Russell Weeks had a workshop on the Friday. He does some interesting lo-fi experiments. Like he was like using a scanner and moving images as the scanner was moving to like overextend them, and then he takes these kind of simple things and then turns them into music videos and stuff. He was inspired by Jean-Paul Goude's work with Grace Jones's album covers, where it's literally just photographs, multiples of the same one, used to kind of hyperextend things, and then in the end it's airbrushed out. So a drunk guy walked into the workshop and was just very happy and so drunk, and he was just like, art is awesome, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I kind of decided I was going to use him as the basis of my workshop output, which was to kind of take an image and turn it into something of a rudimentary GIF. So just by, you know, photocopying the same image and then kind of cutting out parts of his body and then gluing them back together, it's like I'm trying to simulate him swaggering and staggering like he was. You know, it was a difficult thing to achieve in the time, and I actually forgot to take the proper stuff home with me. But yeah, at the talk with Will Hudson, he quoted John Higgins saying that John said, "Do interesting things and interesting things happen." That's kind of my plan going forward, is to do lots of stuff, get it out there, and hope I get a response. Now, I assume he was talking about John Higgins, the artist of 2000 AD fame, not the snooker player. I suppose it doesn't really matter one way or the other. But that brings us to the end of Pecha Kucha 40, and I'll see you next time.